Hallo allemaal. Ja, de Supercup is reeds gespeeld en aanstaande zaterdag begint de competitie voor Donar hier in Martini Plaza tegen Ares. Overigens, er zijn nog kaarten verkrijgbaar. Tijd voor een goed gesprek met de technische staf en de aanvoerder van Donar, Leon Williams. First a question for the technical director Drago. How were your last couple of months, the last 6 months, because you're responsible for the first team of course, but also the younger teams, under 18, under 22 and with Celeritas under 14, 16 and 20. How was it?
Yeah, it's been exactly 6 months ago when I took this function. I have to say that we did a lot in that time. It was a pretty busy period. We came up to the not planned, almost full rebuild of the pro team. We had a new assistant coach and we get into the collaboration with the Celeritas Donar, where we are now, let's say, in the charge of leading all youth teams from U14, U16, U18, U20 and U22, so all the way to the pro team. So it was intense summer to build up that program, but also build up a new team for new season.
Is it a tough job?
It has a big responsibility. It is bringing a lot of stress as well, but it's for me fun and excitement and something that I love. So in most of the time I don't find it really as a job.
Leon, de eerste vraag even voor jou. Je hebt natuurlijk Eurobasket gespeeld, wat we allemaal hebben kunnen volgen. Nu heb je even een blessure. Hoe gaat het met je?
Na omstandigheden goed. Ik heb op dit moment natuurlijk een enkel blessure, wat minder is, maar elke dag gaat het beter. Wat je ook al zei, Eurobasket was een drukke zomer. Nu kan ik jammer genoeg wat rust pakken, maar na omstandigheden gaat het redelijk.
En hebben we het dan over dagen, weken?
Stapje voor stapje, elke dag gaat het beter. Ik heb vanochtend alweer wat geschoten en morgen is al de bedoeling dat ik 5 tegen 0 met het team mee ga doen, dus stapje voor stapje.
Mooi, het gaat vooruit.
Ja.
Andrej, you're a couple of weeks now here at Donar, maybe all 2 months already.
Yes.
You've seen Dutch basketball so far and some strong opponents. What do you see here at Donar?
I see great enthusiasm, great organization, and I see a lot of effort put behind every single detail that I can find on a daily basis. When we talk about the general picture about the opponents and the places we've been, there is a community quite large at each one of those places that really puts a lot of work and effort into building great basketball programs, and really this is something that is going up, going forward, and really I'm looking forward to everything what's in front of us.
Okay. Matthew, Donar had a tough start, the beginning of this season. How is the process going, in your opinion?
Process is where it needs to be. It's a new staff, new team, new staff, particularly learning to work together, how to work the most efficient way. I think that we've covered this. And the team is in the process still of getting to know each other, learning. There's so much to teach that you can't learn in one day. We're taking the ladder, not the elevator. So we're in a good part of our process right now overall.
It takes time to build a team.
Absolutely, it's not something that happens overnight.
Okay. Drago, it was tough, of course, I can imagine, to decide to send Mindaugas Kacinas away and introduce a new player, Artyoms Butchankovs. But why did it have to be done?
Well, we had certain ideas when we recruit the players, and we have some kind of DNA behind it, also how to fit it in a team. And in that moment, Mindaugas looked to us as a perfect fit. That is something that you do via video collecting your informations and building up the team. Reality is something else. When you get the players here on the court, then you after the process of the practice and the games, you start to realize, okay, maybe maybe some other profile of the player would be better fit, or there was something that we just misjudged or misseen it and has to be replaced. So we just thought in that moment that Mindaugas his approach was really professional. He was really a smart, intelligent player who understood well game. The thing is, at that moment we need a more physical player, and what I believe we get in Artyom Butchenkovs. So that's why we made that decision.
And he's now a couple of days over here. How's he doing right now?
Yeah, he had a bad luck that after a good presentation against a game against Feyenoord, where he showed how much he can mean to this team after just one practice, that he got sick and he was not with us in the Super Cup game. Today he did first practice, so all this week he will be preparing for the coming game against Aris. So I believe he will be fit for that.
Okay. Leon, als je het team vergelijkt met vorig jaar, we hebben nu 11 spelers. Vorig jaar hadden we de 14. Dat betekent ook dat de minuten anders verdeeld moeten worden. Oftewel, vorig jaar was het misschien zelfs een beetje zoeken dat iedereen die minuten ook kreeg. Wat verandert dat voor jou? Wat verandert dat voor het team?
Ik denk dat het voor het team wat meer rust creëert. Dat ze niet zozeer zich druk hoeven te maken over hun minuten of dergelijke. Dus ik denk dat het een hoop rust brengt binnen het team. Denk je ook dat dat voor jou zelf dan effect heeft? We hebben natuurlijk nou specifiek 3 point guards. Dus zal die verdeling in jouw geval ook anders zijn? Ik denk dat we op mijn positie samen met Charles en ik denk dat VT ook wel het een en ander op de guardpositie gaat spelen. Ik denk dat we enorm gewaagd aan elkaar zijn en dat we elkaar goed kunnen steunen in dat opzicht. Dus ik denk qua minuten zal het niet zo heel veel uitmaken, maar ik denk wel dat we goed op elkaar ingespeeld zullen zijn. Andrej, there's always the difference in basketball between offense and defense. If you look at Donar right now, what is more in balance right now and what has to improve specific?
I think generally that the new composed teams, especially in short term, they have to grind and build their identity through defense, because there are many elements that don't depend on only connecting players, and this is what we try to implement, of course. For offense, it takes a bit more time for all this talent to come on the same page and to play in a synchronized way like one unit. So I believe that, of course, we cannot do one without another, but pulling, let's say, defensive part as something that is our absolute must. As coach says, bread and butter on an everyday basis, we try to first of all emphasize that. And of course, offense is something that brings the joy, but as a consequence of all the other things that we do well.
Okay, coach Matthew. We can say that pre-season for Donar wasn't that good. And one of the main things in that period was that you weren't there. You were with the Orange Lions at the Eurobasket. What are your plans for the future with Orange Lions if you stay Donar there somewhere?
Recently I decided to stop with the Orange Lions. I thought I worked, I think, almost 3 years with the Orange Lions. It was something I committed myself to previous to becoming a head coach. I really enjoyed the process. It was a beautiful experience, but at this moment makes most sense to focus all my efforts on Donar and my head coaching role. Recently, like I said, I decided to stop after a mutual discussion with the board there, and yeah.
Okay. And if you look at that pre-season, only 1 win for the team against Rotterdam. All the other games were tough. What does it do with the players if you have a pre-season like that?
This pre-season is there for us to learn. Preseason is there. We took very hard games. We started with Oldenburg for a reason. You know, it's there to go through the tough games. Luckily, they don't cost you as much as it would during the season. You know, it's a preseason game. We can review from our mistakes afterwards and learn from our mistakes without it costing us so much.
But still, probably you need as a player also that energy of a win.
Absolutely. You know, the Feyenoord game was a good win, and I think you could see the energy shifting and the defense becoming more intense for us when we started feeling this winning. And I think, like I said, you know, it was an experience for us that we needed to learn to move forward. And of course, with the change in player, this is a new team. It's a team that's in their process. It's going to take time for them to develop. Like I said before, it's not something that happens overnight. And when we choose such tough opponents, you're thrown into the fire together. And this is, in a sense, we didn't want the result, but we wanted the hard games for our learning, because this team has great potential and is learning to play together.
Drago, you're working together with those coaches, and of course it's Mindert. He's not here, but what is his role specific? We heard and we read that he was behind the scenes a little bit, but what does he do specific?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I mean, it's first of all, it's great to have Mindert around. I think I have a great experience with him being my assistant coach, and well, I was a player, and he brings a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, of course. I think he's, at this moment, he's there just to be as an advisor and give some of his advices to the coaches, and Matthew, as a head coach, will see what to do with such advice. Of course, Mindert is an old school coach, you know, so sometimes it's some kind of tough decisions, and you know, like he want to be hard way, but you know, like overall, I think we have to be happy to have him around, and to try to use his experience in that way. So his advices are always welcome, I believe. And other thing is he's also, I think, with the coaches, he get a part of his job is also directed from Matthew's side, that he can also analyze some of the games or make some preparation for the game. So that is also how he can help, and he's at least one time a week here around the team and coming on the practices and seeing how, from his side, how things are developing.
Leon, het gaat nu echt beginnen voor Donar. Hier aanstaande zaterdag tegen Ares, de eerste wedstrijd in Martini Plaza. De eerste officiële wedstrijd. Jij loopt al een poosje mee natuurlijk, je hebt al van alles meegemaakt. Vertel eens, hoe krijgen we Martini Plaza hier weer in vuur en vlam?
Door in eerste instantie natuurlijk te winnen. Maar ik denk dat we een groep hebben die op het veld staat, die willen vechten voor elkaar. Dus ik denk dat er een hoop vechtlust, een hoop energie op het veld komt te staan. En hopelijk slaat dat een beetje over op het publiek. En nou, hebben we het zesde man natuurlijk van Martini Plaza hard bij nodig.
Het zal zeker ook voor de nieuwe spelers wel even een momentje zijn om dat te voelen, die energie die van de tribunes afkomt.
Ja, dat is natuurlijk uniek. En hopelijk kunnen we dat, ik denk dat VT die heeft die ervaring al een beetje meegekregen natuurlijk. En hopelijk kunnen de andere gasten daar ook van leven.
Andrej, part of the coaching staff, of course, as an assistant, what is your role specific? We talked about Minded before. Is it lots of time watching video and do preparation for the new opponent? What do you do specific?
At the first place when I came, I was trying, and I was actually a fit to the needs of, first of all, the coach and the coaching staff. So I was running the team for a few weeks, of course, by coach's instructions, but I was with the team as a head coach role because I was running the practices. Now there is head coach here, and of course that we are, as he said, we are working together. We are trying to complement each other, so we cover the most necessary to prepare our team the best. Video is something that where we get the general picture as all coaches, and each one of us has specific tasks. Mindert on his own field, myself on my own field, and coach is here to assemble, let's say, everything to present it to the team. But if there is a defensive practice, I might give another look to the players. If so, I try to be a complement to whatever the topic is, and coach is taking over there to try to see that the things, the small things around, are also communicated to the players. So the both sides on the practice has a full, let's say, meaning to everybody.
Coach, looking back at the Super Cup from last week, the game against Den Bosch, Heroes Den Bosch, is Heroes so much better as Donar at the moment?
I think at this moment Heroes seems to be further along with a more returning team. You can see they're running similar things that they were last season. Aside from that, I think, out of respect for Den Bosch, we miss two key defenders. That's never an excuse, of course, especially to my team, because in basketball, we can't control injury. It's going to happen, and we have to learn how to perform under these circumstances in the future. But with the full roster and time, for sure, we will be able to compete with Heroes.
In the beginning and the first moment of the season, you introduced that there are 5 prizes to win, of course. So there's one still 4 to go, of course. And we got some tough opponents also playing in Europe later on, in Italy, Estonia, and we have to go to Ukraine. Do you think that you will be ready for that level because there's so less time?
Yes, you know, Archem's came late, and like we said, he had 1 practice, 1 game. Now he's had more practices. The team is getting acclimated to him. The team is getting acclimated to me, the new staff. We are in a process, and it's the only thing we have to focus on is getting better every day. We're not playing for a championship tomorrow or next week. We are working for an entire season towards becoming a team that can be a contender.
Takes time.
And at this moment, we're in that process. As far as Europe Cup next week, yeah, I think with Leon coming back in the week, Archem's joining. Everyone calls him Archie, but Archem's rejoining the team. I think we can really compete.
Okay. One more round, Drago. A lot of kids are around Donar now with Leritas, all the younger players. Are there any kids coming up to play for Donar on the highest level? So do you see big talent?
Well, the ultimate goal of all this collaboration is that we become producer of our own talent, and that those kids one day get bigger and more significant role into the pro team of Donar. Right now, I think through all this pre-season, we can see a great development of Kjeld Zoudema, for example, and Mark Roorda is there going with his development as well. For the first time, we are also doing something with the talented players of our DTL team. Where they help us also when Leon and Olaf was missing with the national team. Few of the guys joined the pro team and help us in the pre-season. But also along the season, 6 players who are on a reserve list, if injuries happens, that they can fulfill the spot in the roster. They're gonna be invited in some practices during the week, that they can be there, and that they can also feel this level, that with that level they can grow as well. So yeah, we are looking towards it in the future for sure.
Leon, coach zei het al, we gaan natuurlijk ook weer Europees spelen. We hebben mooie tegenstanders naar mooie landen uit en thuis. Is dat nou zoveel anders als de B-Next wedstrijden? Oftewel, het feit dat we Europees spelen, is dat echt een soort ander level?
Ja, het brengt ook wel weer andere spelers naar de hallen toe. En we krijgen ook een ander soort speelstijl te zien. Italiaans speelstijl is meestal totaal anders dan het Nederlands of het Belgische speelstijl. Dus er komt wel veel bij kijken inderdaad.
Kijk je ernaar uit?
Ja, zeker weten. Het is ook wel een beetje een teambonding als je op die tripjes gaat. En wordt het team ook weer hechter van en beter van, in mijn opinie.
Andrej, you played in other countries, you coached in a lot of countries. When you look at Dutch basketball, is there any difference with Dutch basketball and all the other things?
I see great enthusiasm in this environment, seen from this fusion, from these two leagues, trying to not to be in any kind of deceiving mode for themselves to play around, but really to grind for an extra quality, to make the competition better, to make the organization better. And I think this is something why and how Netherlands, along with Belgium, are exceptional here. We have really nothing to be ashamed of here, and I really think that we are on the right path. How we took this seriously, and in no time there is going to be really, I think, good basketball that everybody's going to be proud of is going to be played around here.
But still, how is it possible? We played Belgium teams last year in European games, but also B-Next. There were only 100, 200 people. And here, home games, 2,000, 3,000. What's the big difference?
I don't know the answer to that question. Probably sometimes the fans get spoiled a little bit. I don't think that's the case around here because they like sport itself. And sometimes people get picky probably, and maybe they want to show up for one particular game or one particular opponent, or wait until the finals. But I'm sure that when the opponents are very big competition one to another and good as the whole league, I think every game can be a small derby and excitement for itself, and I think this is where this league is going to.
Okay, coach, it's an important week because of that first game against Aris next Saturday. If you look at the Donar DNA, we talked about that before, of course, the Donar DNA. What is your focus right now, looking at the game on Saturday?
One day at a time. You know, we finished practice just before this, and we're covering a few things here. And tomorrow we will cover. Focus on following up and covering more. It's a lot to cover, but we have a lot of time, you know. So this game, preparing for Leeuwarden, preparing for the clock to officially start. Preseason is behind us, and myself, the staff, the team, we're really motivated for the season to start. Yes.
Okay. Last thing, there are two new rules in basketball for the next competition. That one of them is that the coach has one instant replay challenge a game. So you can ask the referees to go to watch that screen exactly like that. What do you think of that? Because maybe there's a little bit different with Donar with all those cameras here when you have some other situation with other clubs.
I think fair is fair. You know, there's some calls that can't be seen. Some balls that can't be seen in using this system, this challenge to get it right is fair. You know, the only if there's a downside, it could slow the game a little bit. But in crunch time, it's really important to see what the right call is, which team gets the right justice.
And fair is fair.
Yeah, fair is fair.
Another thing that has been changed is the warming up of the team has to be done now before their own bench. Does that make any difference, Leon? Maakt dat wat uit dat je nou aan de andere kant moet warm spelen?
In principe niet, want basketbal blijft gewoon hetzelfde. Maar het zal wel wennen zijn, aangezien ik afgelopen 3 jaar op die basket heb warm gelopen. Maar goed, basketbal blijft hetzelfde, dus als het goed is zal het geen verschil maken.
I wish you a lot of luck for the coming season, especially for the game on Saturday. Does anybody wants to add something to this? No? Then I would say we see each other on Saturday. Thank you.